This is the Gravity Knight, a Tarnished unleashed from his prison when the meteor crashed and who utilises gravity-based attacks. We'll explore how his build contends in the lands between, facing challenges in the arena. But, like the video and give it to me bite-sized. So we have a mix of armors which both optimize fashion and stats. For our helmet we're using the Elden Knight's Cavalry helm, and for our chest pieces the Zamor armor. I then threw in the Bull Goat's Greaves and the Banished Knight Gauntlet. The Bull Goat's Greaves and Banished Knight Gauntlets provide us with some extra poise while not compromising the overall style, and our defense is pretty good leaning towards fire. Now let's look at our weapons, and we have the Ruin's Greatsword and the Meteoric Oreblade, which both use gravitational style attacks. Starting with the Ruin's Greatsword, it comes with the weapon art Wave of Destruction, which unleashes a massive wave of gravitational energy towards your enemy, and the weapon deals both physical and magical damage. The Meteoric Oreblade also deals magical damage and comes with weapon art Gravitas, which performs a gravitational pull which draws enemies in. We also benefit from 50 bleed build up as an added bonus. I didn't include any gravity spells since it would require far too much stat investment in both strength and intelligence, and I plan on doing a gravity spellcaster build fairly soon. Our talismans are pretty standard. We have the Bull Goat's Talisman for 25% additional poise, the Shard of Alexander for 15% additional weapon art damage, Millicent's Prosthesis for plus 5 dexterity and bonus damage when doing combos, and the Jarl's Arsenal, which increases our maximum equip load by 19% so we can carry this massive slab of rock. Now here's something interesting, we also have gravity dedicated items which are very strong and look awesome. Both the Gravity Stone Fan and Chunk unleash gravity style area of effect magic towards the enemy, scaling with intelligence. But despite our intelligence being fairly low, we still do fantastic damage, and it's great for putting some distance between yourself and the enemy, catching an enemy in a roll, or finishing off an enemy with low health. For our stats we have 50 strength so we can wield the Ruined Greatsword, 14 dexterity and 18 intelligence so we can wield the Meteoric Oreblade. We then have 58 vigor and 41 endurance so we can medium roll and have a bit of health to survive hits. I think if you're using the Jarl's Arsenal, you can drop some of the endurance for intelligence or vigor, but be aware that our weapon uses a lot of stamina, so you'll want to stay topped up. This is based on a level 125 hero, with all equipment upgraded one level below the maximum, which will avoid you having to use a rare Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. So this build has both style and options when it comes to engaging with enemies, allowing us to counter a range of tactics. For starters, we have our Ruin's Greatsword, which has fantastic swinging speed and can stagger enemies on contact. But be aware that the range is deceptively short and you may find yourself hitting the nose hairs of enemies, but the speed makes up for that distance. The weapon art can send enemies flying into the sky for massive damage and has a fairly large hitbox, meaning enemies need to roll through it or have some distance in order to not get hit. The heavy attacks are some of the best I've seen, as it slams with a delayed swing, then creates an eruption of rocks before the slam creates an additional eruption, dealing extra damage. This means that enemies who try to trade your heavy attacks will likely get hit even if the initial strike misses. The jumping and poking attacks are fantastic, but the range will still be an issue, and despite the decent guard boost, I don't get into the habit of blocking with greatswords as rolling is more effective. Then we have the items that I love to use to deal some damage. The fan is used to apply pressure to an enemy or to catch them in a roll, but the Gravity Stone Chunk has a delayed explosion, and it's best to throw it at your foot so if the enemy charges you, they will get hit and staggered, allowing you to deal additional damage. I use the katana in my left hand and the Ruin's Greatsword in my right, so I have a quick striking weapon for aggressive players who step into my radius, and I think it's more stylish this way. The katana's strong attack also moves you forward when you use it, which can be useful for catching enemies just outside of your attack radius, especially if you use it after gravitas. So on our weaknesses, our attacks have a long wind up and recovery time, so be careful to manage your spacing and choose your moments carefully so you don't get hit by a quicker weapon. Halberds may also have an advantage due to our weapon's lack of range, meaning they can poke and roll escape before your swing lands. Also, this build consumes a lot of FP at minimal mind investment, so budget your casts and don't be afraid to use the regular attacks. But overall, I genuinely think this build could be a canon NPC within the game, as the Ruin's Greatsword has no known owner, and we have access to both dedicated items, weapons and spells, which help provide depth to any gravity based build. This is a very fun and unique feeling cosplaying build, as no other NPC in the game utilises this combination of armour and weapons, and both of the weapons can be obtained fairly early in the game, allowing you to piece together the gear as you go along. I'll leave you with some uninterrupted battles, but let me know your thoughts on the build in the comment section below, and of course subscribe. This is Bite Sized Otaku, and I hope you enjoyed.